Breaking news! The Rays spend money? The Angels finally realize that the problem that's been plaguing their mediocrity for years upon years. They finally sign another pitcher? And tons of breaking news today to go forward. Stay tuned, leave a like as always, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and let's get it going. In biggest news, Wander Franco, Rays extraordinaire, had a brilliant season last year. Would have won Rookie of the Year had he had a larger sample size, but it was given to his teammate, Randy Arozarena. He is locked up for quite some time. The Rays, Stu Sternberg with his wallet, finally has spent some money. And we have this historic deal for Wander Franco, a 12-year contract that guarantees him around $185 million. There is also a 12-year option, which is what brings it up to that $223 million value. There is no official no-trade clause, but he's going to get 10 and 5 rights that allow him to block any trade. And if he is traded, he's going to get $3 million more as a bonus to this deal. So he is going to be a Tampa Bay Ray for quite some time, into his early 30s. And as Chame hashtag Olsen2 New York Yankee hashtag Correa to New York Yankee says, overpay and overrated. J. Paul, a man of respect, of honor, says to overpay this ratio. Now, Wander Franco, last year, he played 70 games after getting the call-up about mid-season, ended up with an OPS plus of 129, OPS at 810, hit 7 home runs. His ISO at 174, a bit lower than expected, but otherwise he was everything you could have wanted in a first year of the #1 overall prospect. He had accrued a 3.5 WAR across those 70 games. He was tremendous at shortstop, and postseason he also came to play, hit 2 home runs in a otherwise quite measly effort from the Tampa Bay Rays, losing to the wild card Red Sox. Now, as many people know, I am a Tampa Bay Rays fan who also happens to like the Minnesota Twins because I was born here. Deal with it. Am I happy? Very. I am completely fine with giving this kind of deal to a guy that's played 70 games. I say that with my chest out and very confident because it is about time that we make some sort of move. Tampa Bay, for all intents and purposes, is not an attractive market to go to, at least not in baseball. Everybody's flocking like seagulls to spilt ice cream on the ground to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but not for the Rays, who play in a warehouse that averages about 6,000 people per game on a good day. More in the postseason, it's typically a good atmosphere at that point, but have many issues. They're not going to sign Chris Bryant. They're not going to sign Carlos Correa. That's out of the question. So if you find somebody like Wander Franco that they've been able to bring up through their own system and get him to this mega deal through his 30s into pretty much the majority of his prime, this is the time to do it. And if it goes to shit, oh well. He doesn't have a no-trade clause, at least not right away. So I love this deal. You compare it to Acuna or Ozzie Albies, the two big extensions that the Braves signed for a very cheap price a couple years back. It is a bit more expensive. It is also a bit longer, just by a couple of years, and it's in a similar situation. If you think about them, I think they played 1 and 2 years respectively, and Wander Franco's played about half a year. So it does come at a risk, but I think it is well worth the reward in the long run that the Rays finally retain one of their stars. They've kind of done that with Longoria, but he was there for about 8 seasons, and Wander Franco's gonna top that just by a little bit. I do want to talk about Corey Seager here for a sec, as this has made pretty big news in the last few days regarding what's going to happen with him in free agency. The Yankees, who are often seen to be a common suitor, I predicted them to go ahead and sign Corey Seager. It seems now like they are not looking for a mega deal at shortstop, at least not this year. They're going to look for more of a bridge shortstop to get them through. So maybe Andrelton Simmons type is a name that I've heard. The Yankee fans are overjoyed with the possibilities that he, in his 650 OPS, could be heading to the Bronx. But as you can see right here, executives, player representatives who have dealt with the Yankees so far in free agency they're monitoring the elite shortstop group, of course, being Correa, Story, Seager, Baez, opposed to participating in it, waiting to see if a market collapses, in which case they might try to swoop in and sign one. So if there is issues with the CBA, and that does affect how players are paid, you could expect the Yankees are going to try and find one of these guys. But in my opinion, after hearing news about that and other things, it seems more likely they're going to go after a guy like Trevor Story, who's going to be a bit cheaper. He is still one of the elite shortstops, as I grouped him in amongst those four. You could put Semien in there, but technically he's a second baseman at this point, given where he played last year. So stop saying, Gomer, what about Marcus Semien? I just told you about him. He's a 2B. So why would I put him amongst the shortstops? He can play there, but I digress. So it will save you a bit of money, but it does seem like it is less favorable for Corey Seager to go to the Yankees now. Is he going to re-sign with LA? What is going to be Corey Seager's future in 2022? The Angels, wouldn't you know it, have finally come to the realization that we have fucking Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on our team. Let's not squander this opportunity. They signed Noah Syndergaard to a one-year kind of prove-it deal. It's not prove-it money, $20+ million that he's going to earn for the 2022 season, coming off 2 years of missing due to injury. They signed Aaron Loup, another Met, who fans of are in shambles on Twitter after they lose another big pitcher, a big piece. And that's Aaron Loup right here. He's going to sign a 2-year, $17 million deal with the Los Angeles Angels. Now, if you are a bit out of the loop, I tried, and think this is an overpay, $17 million over 2 years, that's not the case. He was fantastic in the 2021 season. In fact, stretching since 2020, where he was a member of the Tampa Bay Rays, he has the lowest ERA amongst qualifiers in baseball at 1.43. He was fantastic for the Mets last year. Pitched 56 and 2/3 innings, ERA at 0.95, ERA plus at 4.22. He was great. He doesn't give up too many home runs. He only had one allowed through 56 and 2/3 innings, which is great. That's a fantastic attribute to have for a pitcher. Even had a WAR of 2.8 last year, so he's going to fit very well in with the Angels, no doubt, and a big signing for them, who begs the question, what's going to happen to Raisel Iglesias? Well, my opinion would be it's likely he's wanting more money than the Angels are willing to give him. So Aaron Loup, well, he hasn't really served in that closing role, and I don't expect him to. He's going to serve as your dominant elite reliever, because it seems likely they might not want to shell out for Raisel Iglesias, who declined his qualifying offer at that 18.4 per 1-year deal. He's in search of a longer one, which rightly so. He had a fantastic year. He wants to have a little bit more of assurance going forward than just 1 year if it is a down season for him. It only makes sense to think of his own interests, but the Angels look like they have the reliever to really count on for next year. Couple deals for the Giants. Anthony DeSclafani is back for $36 million, 3-year deal, which is pretty big news. DeSclafani had a pretty good season for the Giants. He was quite dependable, as were the majority of the rotation, such as Alex Wood, who's going to be finalizing a 2-year, $10 million contract with them as well. So all of a sudden, 3 of the 5 rotational pieces in Logan Webb, DeSclafani, and Alex Wood are going to be back. We're still waiting on Kevin Gausman, what's going to happen with him. There are certainly a lot of teams that are going to be interested, but the Giants do seem, or at least to me, going to be the favorite in bringing him back. And as if you needed somebody to tell you, there's growing speculation that players want to go for San Francisco now that they know they're back to their winning ways. Won the National League West out of seemingly nowhere last year, and the only big losses that you can foresee is Buster Posey, which he wasn't even a completely full-time catcher last year. Was quite good, won the comeback player of the year. He was the Silver Slugger for the catcher position. But they also have Joey Bart coming up, so that's going to kind of fill the hole for the Giants, and I'm very excited to see what happens. In other news, we saw this tweet from Supreme, from Buster Only, that the Rockies are not going to be trading their desired assets. They are instead in win now mode. They're going to attempt to compete this year, which I thought's great. You know, the NL West is wide open. There's, you know, not much competition there. The Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, they're certainly bad teams. So the Rockies, Lord knows, could be right amongst their fighting for the National League West crown. So I don't get it. It's not exactly breaking news that the Rockies front office is incompetent. That's just sort of known news at this point. But that's pretty much going to wrap this one up. We'll talk about more stuff as it does happen. The hot stove seems quite hot. It was preheating for a while with deals like Jose Quintana to the Pirates. Earth League altering move right there for Pittsburgh, no doubt. But very excited to have this offseason underway. Leave a like if you guys enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Thank you for watching.